All right, this is page 8 in our note packet. Um, Application problems. So you have a Khan Academy assignment with rectangle area and perimeter word problems that you're going to be doing. So by going through a bunch of these, you'll be able to see different ways that area and perimeter apply to things. Some of them are just word problems that don't have any meaning behind them. Others of them have a purpose, like how much carpet or how much paint or how much fertilizer or things like that. So let's go through these together. Here we go. The area of a rectangular room measures 12 meters by 7 meters. How much carpet would you need to purchase to cover the floor? I always like to have a little picture of what's happening. You don't have to sketch a picture, but I highly recommend it. My pen is not cooperating. There we go. So here's a rectangle. This is representing a room that we need to carpet. And this room is 7 meters by 12 meters. How do we figure how much carpet we need? How do we find what would be required to cover a floor with carpet? Would it be an area or a perimeter? Covering a floor with carpet would involve area, right? That wouldn't be perimeter. Perimeter would be like a fence, be around something. Area would be covering a surface, right? So if we're covering the floor with carpet, we are trying to find the area that we need for that carpet. So to find area, we just do length times width. So in this case, that would just be 12 times 7. Use a calculator, and it's 84 square meters. Any questions on that? Why area of a carpet would be area formula and multiply those together, right? Okay, Charlie has a rectangular flower garden that is 5 yards long and 12 yards wide. Usually we consider length the long one and width the shorter one, but it doesn't have to be. It just means it has 2 dimensions, and one dimension is 5 and the other dimension is 12. It doesn't matter that they used length and width in the opposite way of what I would have done. It's not a big deal. 1 bag of fertilizer can cover 6 square yards. Notice how it's square yards. That would be area, right? How many bags of fertilizer will he need to buy to cover the entire garden? Well, let's go ahead and find the area of the garden, which would be 5 times 12. So that would be 60 square yards. Okay, now that we know the area of the garden, let's stop and think about this question. 1 bag of fertilizer can cover 6 square yards. So how many bags of fertilizer are we going to need? 6 square yards each. How many do we need total to cover that entire garden? I'm writing out this list of 6s adding together because each package of fertilizer would be 6, but that doesn't mean you have to write it out this way. I'm just trying to help you think about it. See if you can help me think of how we would figure that out. How many are we going to add together to get 60? What kind of math problem would that be? We need 60 square yards and each one is 6 square yards. Couldn't we just divide to see how many we need? So that would be 10 bags, wouldn't it? We would need 10 bags of 6 each to add up to the 60 to cover that garden. So it's not always just about finding the area or finding the perimeter. Sometimes it's about applying something to that and how to use that in something that's actually possibly practical for your future lives or current lives. This next question, I don't know why you would want to know the size of the skate park, but here it is. We have a skate park with a perimeter of 76 meters. So here's my rectangular skate park. And all the way around it is 76 meters, right? We happen to know that the length of the skate park is 22 meters, but we want to know how wide it is. What do we know about a rectangle? If this side is 22 meters, do we happen to know what the other side of the rectangle will be? You guys listening? Yes? Wouldn't it also be 22 meters? Because a rectangle is the same on each side. So if I have 22 and 22, that gives me 44. So from a perimeter of 76, if I subtract out the 44, I have 32 left for the widths. Now the reason I said widths instead of just width is that there's two widths, correct? So that 32 has to be this width and that width put together. Two of them that are the same length. So we have 32 distance around the skate park still available for that width. How much is each individual width going to be since there's two of them? Since I know I need two widths out of my 32 meters, that means each one would be 16 meters. And then if you want to check your answer, you could just add them all together again. 22 plus 16 plus 22 plus 16. See if it adds up to our 76 meters total. Any questions on that? So like I said, we have a combination of area and perimeter problems that we're doing here. A triangular mosaic is to be constructed from 1 by 1 inch tiles in a new building. If the triangle is 8 feet across the base and 6 feet tall, how many 1 inch by 1 inch tiles will be needed to do the project? You guys know what a mosaic is? You know how pictures are sometimes made from little squares, like in Minecraft sort of idea? Pixels. So it's kind of that same idea. You can make a picture out of a bunch of colored squares that when you stand back from it, it makes a picture, right? So that's the idea behind a mosaic. Now, the tiles are 1 by 1 inch. These measurements they just gave us are in feet. Don't you think it would be better if we had everything in inches instead? So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by 12 so that I have that measurement in inches. So that will be 72. Then I'm going to multiply this one by 12 so I have that one in inches. So that will be 96 inches. Now, how do I find the area of a triangle? Remember, this is going to be a triangular shape. How do I find the area of a triangle? How is finding the area of a triangle different than finding the area of a rectangle? Yeah, so for a rectangle, we can just do base times height. Well, that's what we've been doing in problems like 1 and 2. We just multiplied together. But for a triangle, we have to actually half that number, right? Because a triangle is only half the size of a rectangle. So in this case, we have a base of 96 inches, and we have a height of 72 inches, and then the half can be accomplished just by dividing by 2. So 96 times 72, I'm going to need a calculator for this one. So that gives me 6,912 square inches, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. That's if it was a rectangle. So the correct answer would be 3,456 inches. So how big is each of our tiles that we're going to be using? Each tile is 1 square inch, right? So if the area is 3,456 square inches, doesn't that mean it'll just be 3,456 tiles? 1 for each square inch.